Well, earlier India Today spoke to actor Tamannah, who plays the character of Avantika in Baahubali 1 and 2. And this is what she had to tell us.
This is the obligatory first question because, you're in the film, we're on the outside, so we don't know what it's like. But on day one of a film of the scale of Baahubali, what is it like, hearing all the things you're hearing, someone telling you about all the numbers flowing in, they're all mind-boggling. What's it like first day?
I'm first of all, very happy to hear every response that I'm getting, be it on Twitter, be it from people, friends, family. I know there have been record sales even before the film has, actually shown in the theatres. The pre-booking itself was so heavy, which was, it's unprecedented. So it's actually very overwhelming. But I'm very happy for the whole team because it's been 5 years of so much hard work that I think they deserve this and even more because they've been so passionate about this film, and I know the whole nation was waiting to watch the film. And to be honest, I haven't seen the second part yet, so I am so excited. I can't wait to go and watch it in the theatres.
No, wait a minute, you haven't seen the second part, which means you've done all the work, so you actually haven't seen the final cut that fans are watching right now. Is that what you're saying?
No, I haven't. That happens to me a lot. I haven't seen the second part yet. But yes, I'm going to watch it very soon. I don't think I can wait that long.
Are there mixed feelings today, Tamannah? Because, after all this work, the movie has taken a long time to make and, be out in the theatres because of the complexity and scale that's gone into it. The effort, the production, the values in it are enormous. I mean, anybody can see that. But are there mixed feelings today because it's the conclusion? We don't know what lies ahead, but these two movies are done and dusted.
No, we always when in the initial stages when the first part was already being made, we all knew that the second part is actually the strongest part that is going to come out in terms of story, in terms of the entire plot unfolding. So actually we were waiting for the second part to come out because that is the real plot, the real story. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of this franchise. I know for a fact that with the conclusion, Baahubali, the film gets over, but the franchise will go on, and Baahubali will be seen in various other on various other platforms, and that will continue. And we have our very own superhero of India. So I don't think we're going to let him go that easy.
That's a very tantalizing thing you've said, Tamannah, because, all through today, all through this entire week that we've been covering the run-up to Baahubali 2, one of the things we constantly hear from fans, from audiences is, what next? We're told about comic books, we're told about spin-offs, possible, other stuff going ahead to keep the franchise alive. But what about fans of yours, people who want to see Avantika and Prabhas and all of these people, as they were in the film, not just comic books, but live action stuff, like Baahubali 1 and 2. Is there something you're not telling us? Is there something that you can share with us going forward?
No, there's definitely nothing that we are hiding. The fact remains that in terms of story, in terms of the content that was created in the first place, there was a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah.
That's all that was written. But I think that is something that Rajamouli sir is the only person who can give you an answer on that question, whether he's going to do anything more with these actors and these characters. But I think he's made our country so proud, and Rajamouli sir is, has just shaken the whole country, if I can say that.
Tamannah, your character Avantika, is something that everybody is talking about. Not just if they were talking about it in the first part, they're talking about it like exponentially more in part 2. They say it's much more layered, more complexities, several different aspects to it. Like you said, part 2 was always going to be a bigger film than part 1. What did it take? You essay the role of a warrior. There are many facets to your personality and the character you play. It may be a cliched question, but what did it really take to get into character and play the role of Avantika?
Well, my screen time is way lesser in the second part than the first part. I come only in the climax of the film. But the beauty of being a part of a franchise like Baahubali is that you have very clear-cut characterizations,
yes,
which you might not even have in a film, say, in which you're fully there. But the beauty is that a character like this has a proper approach to it. You look so different, like my character looks so different than what I look in person. So the entire transformation is what's the fun part of it. And I, even with the very few shots that I have in the film, in the second part, I think I remember somebody telling me that you have this one shot in the trailer, but that's effective. And I think that entire credit goes to Rajamouli sir, because every shot that he takes, he puts in so much of thought, so much of there's so much that goes behind getting that one shot right.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy for my friend Prabhas, who has he's totally he's actually reaping all the fruits of the 5 years of that he has actually spent doing this film and only doing this film. It's very, very demanding for an actor who's at his peak to give 5 years to a project.
Right.
And he's done that, and I know of everybody just praising him to the skies, and I'm really, really happy and thrilled for him.
The spotlight has been so much on Prabhas and Rana, Tamannah, and rightfully so. They're the stars of this film. But there have been so many people who've talked about your character as well, and since you're live with us, I want to take the opportunity to ask you, we've got this superstar in Baahubali. What about Avantika? Is there a future for her, do you think? Because she's an unforgettable character. People are talking so much about Avantika. You've got far less screen time in the second part, but in the first you had a lot. And people are wondering whether Avantika, could be the tent pole for a, a spin-off franchise and a superhero in her own right.
So, well, when the first part was being done and we were making the first part, every character was researched so much so on that you could actually, we had a backstory for every character,
yes,
be it my character or Satyaraj sir's character, Katappa's character or Sivagami's character. We all had a backstory written so that we know what happens to this character and why is this character the way he or she is. So I know, but this is it's a question you're asking the wrong person. I think Rajamouli sir is the only person who can say whether he can actually use the backstory and make individual films of them, because we actually have that kind of content that you can go and make a movie on them.
Okay, so you're saying there is enough content in the backstories, for films to, perhaps individual films to make. So I'm going to make a note of that question and actually put that to Mr. Rajamouli when we actually talk to him next. But, going forward now, Tamannah,
you should ask him.
The kind of benchmark that Baahubali has set at so many different levels, production values, the depth of the screenplay, the photography, the special effects. As an artist, do you sometimes feel a sense of curiosity about what's really going to come next? Because right now, Baahubali is the benchmark. It's set a very new benchmark at so many different levels.
It's a very exciting time for us because, there's this beautiful amalgamation between using technology and, storytelling at its peak.
Yeah.
I think that is something that is a rare visual. Even for actors, we work in so many films, but it doesn't happen to us very often that we see such a beautiful, marriage between the two elements. And I think, I wish and hope that a film like this inspires a lot more filmmakers to focus on these elements to kind of tell a story.
Yeah.
I know, as time elapses, it's only going to get better. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to more scripts and more attempts which are like this, which are very daring. At the same time, something that's very lasts in the memory of the audience.
India's reputation as far as filmmaking is concerned internationally, Tamannah, has already always been quite grand. People have always said great things about Indian filmmaking. Hasn't Baahubali simply taken it many, many levels, many, many notches higher? People are looking at India in a new light.
No, I know for a fact this is of international standard. Baahubali, especially the part 2. After the part 1, I think there was a lot more, that they could invest into part 2, fortunately. and they made it a bigger film, which was the plan. But the success of part 1 helped us to make Baahubali 2 a bigger film. And yeah, I mean, it is probably our. I keep saying this is our Indian hero. Like we always looked up to Superman, Spider-Man. You know, we had all these characters that we looked up to. But I think it's high time we had a superhero of our own. And yes, this could be the answer to to the Western movies that these are the kind of films that India makes.
Were you surprised at all with the, there was at one level expectedly there was a bit of piracy, there was a scare that parts of the movie had been leaked, etc., especially this morning and recently. Did that surprise you at all? Because, given the attention this movie has been getting, it was probably inevitable that this was going to happen.
Yeah, but I still feel like a film like this is so visual and so grand that whatever you do, you have to watch it on that big screen to be able to fully enjoy it. And I know that India has so many people who are just genuine, passionate moviegoers, that they will want to watch it in the theaters. Of course, it's sad that the piracy does happen, and producers are investing so much money into the film, and they still have to go through this even now. But I still feel a film like this will not be affected. People will still want to go to the theater and watch it, because the cinema-going experience on the large screen is completely different than say a phone or say something small, especially for a film like Baahubali.
And the reason I asked is also because piracy is not the only sort of negative attention that big films get in this country, as we've seen over and over again. Baahubali had its own share of the political spotlight with what happened in Karnataka as well. As a young actor, do you see or do you think that big budget films, cinematic spectacles, high profile films and cinematic projects are soft targets for politics in this country?
The thing is, we are a democracy, so everybody has an opinion, and we have to respect that. Yeah. And we respect each and every person's opinion. At the same time, as a person who's creatively trying to express himself, should not be restricted beyond a point, because then how can creativity flourish in the first place? And how can filmmakers flourish in the first place? And this at the end is a business, and people are putting in a lot of money into this, and just to do justice to that, I think I'm glad that Baahubali got out of its it got its release, its deserved release in Karnataka, and I'm happy about it, and I'm thankful to everybody who supported the film.
Tamannah, last couple of questions. Like the question I started with, everything about this movie is epic. It's difficult to use adjectives that don't adequately describe this movie. Everything is epic. Everything is on a large scale. What are some of the things, it's taken a while from the time shooting wrapped up until the movies actually come out. What are some of the amazing things you've actually heard about this film? Because, Indians everywhere are proud to see a film like this, international quality, stuff that, other countries can be really, really envious of. What are some of the amazing things you've heard said by others about Baahubali?
I think India has always had some amazing stories to tell.
Yeah.
And I think especially this film, the way each and every character has gotten etched into people's mind, I think that is quite a rare thing. Like I remember people when I'm going on the roads or I'm going in an airport, people call me by my character name. They call me Avantika. And not only me, like even say an actor like Satyaraj sir, who is such a senior actor who's been there for so very long. Except for Tamil Nadu, everywhere else, everybody wants to call him Katappa.
Yeah.
So I think what this film has achieved, apart from its just sheer opulence, I think is a very strong place in people's heart, and a very strong memory that has been created of this film. And I think especially the fact that the film, the first part of Baahubali, was re-released.
Yes.
Now that is something that happens to very few films. Like maybe a Sholay had that, and maybe a few films of Rajnikant sir had that. And today, if Baahubali has that has that good fortune of being re-released, I think it's purely because of how the film has impacted the audience and how they've related to each and every character, and the characters are actually stuck in their head.
You know, given the tone, the setting, the subject matter, that Baahubali deals with, do you think films like Baahubali, create an upsurge of interest, especially among the young, Tamannah, in mythology, in India's very rich history? Because like you said, this country is definitely not short on amazing stories and amazing content.
I'm sorry, you might have to repeat that. I couldn't hear you clearly.
I was saying, movies like Baahubali, where the subject matter is one of mythology and the past, do you think that creates opportunity and creates compelling factors for the younger generations to be more interested in India's mythology and history going forward?
Yeah, it should actually. I mean, we have, we have amazing mythology, and it's great if the youngsters can get inspired by that. But again, I think we are we're at a point where we're blending into in all kinds of cinema. So I think this is a very, very amazing time for youngsters, because they have the freedom to choose and to express themselves in the exact way that they actually want to. But yeah, like the Amar Chitra Kathas or Mahabharata or Ramayana, we have these amazing mythologies. So it's definitely something that is worth and should be inspired from.
Tamannah, all the very best. Thank you so much. Congratulations on this fantastic cinematic achievement. You've been a part of it, but as they say, it's always all of the parts that make the whole, and Baahubali is spectacular. I can tell you for sure that I'm going to go and watch part 1 and then part 2 within the next 24 hours, because the number of things we've been hearing about it, I probably cannot defend myself any longer. Tamannah, or should I call you Avantika, thank you so much for joining us here.